Hello everyone! Welcome back to Red Doe Reads. Today we have r/Am I the Butthole? If you want me to cover some specific subreddit in the next video, leave it in the comments. Am I the butthole for refusing to change my daughter's therapist when my wife, aka her stepmom, wants us to? I, 37 male, have a 10-year-old daughter called Ren. She's my only child with my late wife Sarah. Sarah passed away on Ren's 5th birthday, cancer. 3 years ago, I met my current wife Lindsay, 35 female, and we got married just under a year ago, and our daughter together is a few weeks old. Overall, Ren and Lindsay get along well. She calls Lindsay Bug, which is a nickname Lindsay's grandparents use for her. Ren thinks it's funny. Ren struggled with the loss of her mom, and very initially with me meeting someone. Her original therapist, she was saying for grief, retired, and it took forever to find another therapist who could help her grieve and adjust to the changes in her life. I admit, I was delayed in getting her help to begin with. It was over a year after Sarah passed away that Ren started therapy. I went through many therapists after the original one retired until Ren liked, would open up to, and was comfortable with another one. Therapy has helped. She doesn't go as frequently, but she still attends. Lindsay believes Ren needs to see a new therapist because Ren calls our daughter together a half-sister. She doesn't call her just a sister, but half is used all the time. Lindsay's parents questioned where she learned half from, and I hear a couple of Ren's friends mention step and half siblings. Lindsay doesn't like that Ren doesn't just say sister. I told her it's not a big deal. The family therapist we saw for about 11 months also said it was normal and let her decide if she drops the half in time. But the Lindsay believes this is a sign she needs more help to process the fact that our daughter is not less of a sister and to help her realize saying half about her sister might hurt her sister's feelings. I argue that our daughter will grow up hearing about step and half siblings in school and it will not be unnatural. She said just because others do it doesn't mean we should be okay with it. And she asked what the harm is in finding a new therapist. I said that actually Ren has met with all of them local to us before we found another the very last time. I said Ren has a therapist she's still working with and has helped her. I told her I also don't want to change therapist just to make her say sister instead of half-sister. Lindsay said if I respected her opinion as an equal partner and decision-maker in Ren's life, I would agree to try this for our family's sake, because clearly Ren has some issues with her sister. While she said this, Ren was watching her sister sleep and smiling at her. Ren chose a special photo of her and her sister for her bedroom wall. She still loves her, but she knows they have different moms, and I think half makes sense for that. Lindsay said she doesn't feel equal, and even though she let the topic drop, I can tell she feels dismissed. Am I the butthole? No, not at all. I think that who maybe can need a therapist is your wife, but only to just help her process her feelings and thoughts, because obviously she is very anxious about future relationship between your daughter with Sarah and your daughter with Lindsay. It obviously comes from place of love. But I think to subject 10-year-old who is in therapy and is doing fine in that therapy to such a major change wouldn't be good for her. Y'all, we got to 200 subscribers! I am so happy! My goal for July was to get to 250 subscribers, and we are just 30 subscribers away from that! So please subscribe, you will make my day, and come back tomorrow cause I release videos every day. Am I the butthole for telling my mom she and her husband need to admit they effed up and find a way to move on? My parents divorced when I, 18 male, was 6. My younger sister was 4 and my younger brother was 3. They shared custody 50-50 of us ever since. Though now I don't have a custody thing set up because I'm an adult now and no longer part of any of that. I stay with my dad now. Mom remarried when I was 11 and my siblings were 9 and 8. Her husband was divorced, had 2 kids who were 8 and 6. He had primary custody of them, but in the summer, they would get longer time with their mom. My mom and her husband moved in together a month before the wedding. From that point on, they created this really strict, really weird and really crazy rules that basically made sure we were never a blended family and there was always animosity. Those rules were: If you want permission for something, ask your new parent, not the regular one. No bio siblings only playing. Everyone has to mix. No closed bedroom doors. We want to see if you're mixing. Every day you'll tell the people in the family one thing you love about them. You must give everyone hugs before leaving the house. No step or half nonsense in this house. There were others. Those were the most damaging ones. My mom told me she wanted us to be a happy blended family and she did not want favoritism of parents or siblings. She told me I didn't have a brother and sister anymore. I had two of each. I also had a second dad. They enforced this too. Or tried to. The hugs never took off, and I ever told her husband or his kids stuff I loved about them. I never loved them to begin with. The rules led to fighting, to us pretty much causing chaos if they took us places. We were all grounded pretty much all the time at their house. We also started doing stuff to make sure family vacations couldn't happen together. Her husband's kids would make plans with their mom to go to her weeks and mom had a vacation booked for. My siblings and I would ask dad to book his vacation first and put it in their app. My mom and her husband would get so frustrated and they would try giving us these talks. Mom would come to me and say I was the oldest and needed to set an example. And now that I no longer go to mom's house, my siblings don't want to either and make a bigger deal out of it. Mom called me yesterday and told me I needed to help create the family unit they fought so hard for before it's too late. She mentioned me being the oldest again and now I should be there for a week when we can all be a family. I told her no, I don't want to. And we're not a family. I told her they effed up. They needed to admit it and they need to find a way forward. Because none of the kids they set so many rules for want to be a family. Mom started crying down the phone to me asking why I wanted to ruin her marriage and rejected the family they were trying to be. Now, could I say they failed when we wouldn't even try? Am I the butthole? Oh, dude, of course not. I think your mom and her husband has to write a book of how not to parent a blended family. Because of course, setting up rules and boundaries works so well with kids. And if I were OP, I would already start saving up for therapy. Am I the butthole for telling my cousin I cannot come to his wedding because of no child rule? My cousin is getting married at the end of August in California at a vineyard. No one in the family is in California, so to go, I need to get a hotel. Me, my mom and brother found an Airbnb that's relatively close. Also, I should mention my husband is posted abroad and won't be coming. I was going to fly to the US for this. The invite came out only 3 weeks ago and we had to scramble to find a place. The issue now is that I have a 4-month-old baby who only breastfeeds and won't take a bottle. She had to drink from an open cup one time because I needed to take a driving exam, and that is the longest she has ever been away from me. They just let us know that no children under 12 are allowed. So I told them that logistically I cannot come. They suggested that me and my mother go back and forth to the Airbnb to watch the baby, and I said it's just too big of a deal. To fly all the way there, pay for Airbnb, and then go back and forth during the wedding, it just doesn't seem worth it. It's a lot of effort to do all of that by myself with a small baby. The Airbnb and plane are still refundable at this point. My cousin is mad that I'm canceling as they paid per head and cannot reduce the amount at this point. I said they can try and find someone else to invite. I said it's his fault that they didn't write the child rule on the invitation. He said I should not be stingy and get a babysitter. I don't know anyone in that area of California, and honestly, paying for a babysitter on top of an Airbnb and flight is ridiculous to me. He says it is standard not to bring children to weddings. So, am I the butthole for canceling close to the date because I cannot bring my baby with me? Add it for clarity. Short notice is because bride is pregnant. I live with my husband in Germany, where he is posted. Baby already has passport because she is only US citizen. Because of the shotgun nature of the wedding, the invite consisted of a graphic image without particular guest names emailed to the guests. The RSVP system also let me choose up to 3 people. So I thought that was me, my baby, and my husband. And apparently, about 30 people have cancelled because of this. And that's why they're complaining so much about the costs. Not the butthole, obviously. If you are organizing an event and wedding, no matter how joyful, is just an event, you have to be clear on all the rules that you are employing. So he wanted to rush it, he rushed it. But not everybody can accept the rules. And me personally, I do not understand the need to rush. It's not like when you get a baby, you will not be able to get married. Am I the butthole for not driving my neighbor to her hospital of choice, instead taking her to the one which was more convenient for me? I live halfway between Hospital A and Hospital B. Hospital A is maybe 3 minutes less of a drive and is a large hospital, whereas Hospital B is smaller, however, still good. My neighbor is pregnant, and yesterday she knocked on my door saying she had complications and needed to go to the hospital, but was unable to drive herself. I said, of course. I was almost ready to leave for work, and Hospital B is on the way, a 4-minute detour. She told me that she needed to go to Hospital A, and I said sorry, but I'm already cutting it close to being late, and that Hospital A would be a 30-minute detour. Otherwise, I could call her an ambulance and get our other neighbor, elderly, without a license, to stay with her. Neighbor said she didn't have ambulance cover and reiterated that she needed to go to Hospital A. I apologized, said that I could not do that, and after some back and forth, I ended up leaving without her. When I returned home from work, I copped an earful from my neighbor's boyfriend, saying that I am lucky her complications weren't that serious. I should also add, it's not a matter of Hospital A being the primary care for her pregnancy. For that, she goes to Hospital C. She didn't want to go to Hospital B because it is smaller. I was hoping not to have to explain my line of work, but it turns out it is important in this context. I'm a support worker. I support clients living with disabilities to attend their own appointments, keep their routines, etc. So if I was late to work, this would have an impact on the people I work with. I don't work a standard 9 to 5 in an office. First, when I was reading the story, I was like, ooh, such a butthole. You cannot bring poor lady to the hospital she wants. But then when OP explained their line of work, I changed my mind. I say not the butthole. If I were that lady, I would just call an Uber or a Lyft or something. Because going knocking on doors, it's such a waste of time. I understand that you cannot call an ambulance, but what if the neighbor wouldn't be home? What would you do? The lady gives off major stingy vibes. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. You can also watch this awesome video or that awesome playlist. See you next time!